Hello my dear friends, you're in the Military Summary channel. In this video we will discuss the most important events that took place in the world during the previous 12 hours. We have a lot of very interesting updates, so let's start. And first we're going to talk about the Middle East, where the conflict between the Iranians and the coalition continues. During the previous night we received, as you can see, lots of updates, lots of videos and different statements from this area, and all these things are telling us just about one thing, that the conflict in the Middle East will continue. Now let's discuss the most important updates and the most important videos, and first let's talk about the state of Oman, because probably the most interesting updates are coming exactly from this area. During the previous 12 hours we received lots of videos from the city of Salah, which is located in the southern parts of the state of Oman, and these videos are just about one thing, how Iranian drones were attacking different terminals, oil terminals at the port of Salah in Oman. In this video we can see the moment a Shahed 136 kamikaze drone struck the oil terminal at the port of Salah in Oman. As you can see, there was just a drone that attacked this facility, and that was enough to destroy the entire object of energy infrastructure. In this video we can see the same place, Port Salah. At this moment the fire is intensifying. Three tanks are burning, and the fourth one has swelled up and is likely to catch fire too. So as you can see, with that, the fire is intensifying. Just a drone, and just a single drone that cost probably $300 destroyed infrastructure worth billions. And in this video we can see the same place, the same object of energy infrastructure of the state of Oman, but from different angles during different period of times of the previous 24 hours. As you can see, a very huge fire, and the fire was intensifying from second to second. So this object was destroyed, and we understand that the Iranians are not going to stop with this. They will continue. They will attack more tankers. They will attack more objects of energy infrastructure, because the Iranians are pursued just one aim, just one target: to push the prices higher, to push the prices for oil and gas higher, as high as possible. Furthermore, during the previous 24 hours, according to information we have, the Iranians attacked several vessels through the Persian Gulf. Some sources stated that the Iranians attacked 2 or 3 vessels. Some sources are saying that since the beginning of the morning of the 11th of March, the Iranians destroyed maybe up to 6 vessels or tankers in the area of the Persian Gulf. And of course we have videos. For example, we have a video that shows the consequences of the Iranian attack in the area of the Iraqi state border. Here we can see the tanker that was also damaged and destroyed. But the most important thing when talking about this territory is that the Iranians were attacking this tanker not with air drones, but they were attacking these tankers with Navy drones. And this is not the first case when the Iranians used Navy drones to attack tankers. Probably this is the second or the third time since the beginning of the conflict in the Middle East when the Iranians have attacked tanker with the drone, with the Navy drone. So this also leads to the situation when the prices for oil are pushed higher. The coalition continue attacking positions of the Iranians along the Iranian side of the Persian Gulf, and during the previous 24 hours the US authorities published footages that show massive launches of ATACMS missiles at targets in Iran from the territories of Kuwait, Bahrain and Iraq. As you can see, lots of missiles were launched, and of course these missiles were attacking bases of the Iranians in the southern parts of Iran, launching sites of the Iranians that the Iranians used to attack ships and vessels and tankers in the area of the Persian Gulf. Furthermore, the US authorities published additional videos where we can see the consequences of previous attacks. For example, in this video we can see how the coalition destroyed the air fleet of Iran, and all these videos shows attacks that were launched by the coalition since the beginning of the conflict. But at the same time the Iranians continue publishing videos of a significant number of boats, missiles and drones they have, and it seems that indeed they have endless number of all this equipment and vehicles. For example, in this video we can see huge underground warehouses of speedboats, anti-ship missiles, and navy mines. I would like to remind you that during the previous 24 hours, there were lots of talks and rumors that the Iranians were planning to start mining the Strait of Hormuz. Later, the President of the United States of America made lots of statements on this matter. He said that he destroyed almost every single boat that the Iranians have, but we see that there are still lots of boats, speedboats that the Iranians have that have the possibilities to mine the Strait of Hormuz, and not just the Strait of Hormuz, but probably even the Persian Gulf. Once again, all these things, all these events that are currently taking place on the territory of the Middle East are doing just one thing. They're pushing prices for oil higher. So that is why the United States of America and the President of the United States of America, Donald Trump, is forced to act. He must do something with the purpose not to allow the prices for oil to get $100 per barrel. And according to information we have, Trump announced that he will activate the strategic oil reserve. According to information we have, US will release 172 million barrels of oil from its strategic reserve. So release the oil, the President of the United States of America announced yesterday. But the main problem is that the United States of America haven't restored their, let's say, oil reserves since the beginning of the conflict on the territory of Ukraine. I would like to remind you that in 2022, the former president of the United States of America, Joe Biden, released the oil with the purpose to stabilize the situation and to reduce the price for oil, which allowed the United States of America to minimize the incomes of the Russian Federation from oil export. But since that moment, the United States of America haven't managed to restore their, let's say, their oil strategic reserves, which means that they're limited in these actions. Furthermore, I would like to tell you very interesting updates that were published by different sources. For example, this morning, different Western media stated that Brent crude tested the 120 level on Monday, dollars per barrel on Monday, and then corrected to $91 per barrel. This was the result of the market losing 15 million barrels of oil per day because of the conflict in the Middle East. The Economist states. Another important thing, that ships are not entering the Strait of Hormuz because of the risk of coming under fire, and insurance cannot solve the problem. Organizing a military convoy on that scale is particularly unrealistic. It would take 2.5 years to clear the tankers accumulated in the Persian Gulf. Another important thing, that the release of strategic reserves by member countries of the International Energy Agency would provide the market with no more than 3 million barrels per day, on 1/5 of the current deficit. So once again, as a result of the beginning of the conflicts in the Middle East, the market is losing 15 million barrels of oil per day, and the strategic release will be able to replace just 3 million barrels per day. But anyway, all these statements were made by the President of the United States of America, and I would like to remind you that yesterday the oil price went down. So yesterday the price of oil, with the price for the Brent crude was around $90 per barrel. But the problem is that during the previous 24 hours, nothing has been stabilized in this sphere. And today, according to information we have, somewhere at, let's say, 12 p.m. of Moscow time, the price for Brent crude was on the level of $98. So we see plus $7 just during the previous several hours. Furthermore, according to information we have, somewhere around during the night between the 11th and the 12th of March of 2026, the cost of Brent was on the level of $101 per barrel, which means that the statements that were made by the President of the United States of America are not able to stop the situation, and the prices for oil will grow. So which means that in coming days we will see another important thing that will start developing around the Russian Federation. So now we understand, and the logic is that currently there is a deficit of oil. There is a huge problem with oil in the global market, which means that the countries that don't have oil will start buying oil from other sources. And of course, everybody understands that Russia is the perfect place where most countries of the world can purchase oil for a normal price, and this situation will stabilize the market. But it's a logical situation when we talk about a normal development of the world. But the problem is that there are lots of conflicts through the world. There is a conflict in the Middle East, there is a conflict in Ukraine, so which means that the European countries, for example, and the United States of America can establish a blockade of the Russian oil easily. So from this point of view, it sounds unrealistic, but the Iranians blocked the Strait of Hormuz. So what can stop the Western countries and the United States of America to block the Russian oil in the Baltic Sea, in the Black Sea? So everything in this hemisphere, nothing can stop the Western countries of doing this. And of course, the Russians understand that this might happen. So that is why, according to information we have, Russia has begun deploying former Wagner PMC private military campaign and former intelligence personal soldiers on tankers carrying Russian oil through the Baltic Sea. According to the project, citing European and Ukrainian intelligence, Russia has formed special ship protection groups consisting of 2 additional crew members with ties to Russian security forces. These personnel are believed to be stationed on board the tankers to prevent the crew from carrying out foreign orders, acts as license with the Russian armed forces, and may also perform intelligence functions. So the Russians understand that their tankers are at a very high price right now, and there are a lot of states in Europe, especially Ukraine and the United Kingdom and France as well, that may start blocking and capturing Russian tankers and vessels with the purpose to receive compensations, let's say, from the situation in the Middle East. Everything is possible, and the Russian Federation will not be able, let's say, to handle with every single case. So that is why the Russians began improving their defenses of their vessels and tankers by hiring additional crew. So this is a very interesting situation. Russians most likely will try to increase the protection of their shadow fleet with the purpose not to allow the Western countries to capture them. At the same time, we see that the negotiations between Ukraine and Hungary are ongoing. I would like to remind you that the Hungarians and the Slovakians are trying to force Zelensky to unblock the Druzhba pipeline, but Zelensky rejects this idea. And during the previous 24 hours, we received lots of very interesting updates from Hungary. The Ukrainians are already threatening my family, my children, and my grandchildren. Everyone is fine, but there are limits to everything. That was stated by the Hungarian Prime Minister Viktor Orban. He claims that the Ukrainians began threatening him. Furthermore, we have a report that the attack by Ukraine on the energy infrastructure, on the infrastructure of the Turkish Stream gas pipeline, is an attack on Hungary's sovereignty. That was stated by the Minister of Foreign Affairs. So we see additional pressure from Hungary and Slovakia on Ukraine, and the most important thing that the information about threats is correct, is true. Today, for example, the former SBU Lieutenant General Georgy Amilchenko, following Zelensky's lead, has begun threatening the Hungarian Prime Minister. We know where Orban lives, where he sleeps, where he drinks beer. We even know who he dates. Let Orban think about his 5 children. That was stated by the former General of Special Forces of Ukraine. And obviously, this is a direct threat to the Prime Minister of Hungary itself. So we see the conflict escalates in this area, and obviously the Ukrainians are not going to unblock the Druzhba pipeline. Now let's discuss the situation on the ground. During the previous 24 hours, we received lots of very important updates. According to information we have, during the previous night, the Ukrainians continue attacking with drones the southern regions of the Russian Federation. And the sources reported that just during the night, overnight, the Russians destroyed more than 100 drones over this territory. But at the same time, we received the report that the Ukrainian drones managed to break through Russia's air defense forces and to attack the chemical plant in the area of the settlement of Tikharetsk. So the Ukrainians attacked this oil refinery, and as a result of this attack, this fire broke out. So the situation is very difficult for Russians, because since the beginning of this year, the Ukrainians have intensified their attacks deep inside of the territory of the Russian Federation significantly, and we see that the Russians are not able to do with this anything. Of course, the Russians are burning down most of the missiles, but we see that more and more missiles are breaking through Russia's defense and attacking the very important plants and factories through the territory of Russia. Furthermore, during the previous day, we received additional videos of how Ukrainians of special forces continued attacking territory of the Russian Federation with drones. Most likely, the Ukrainians were using the Starlink terminals for these purposes. Here we can see very good quality of video without problems for a signal, and in this video we can see how lots of positions, warehouses, ammo depots of the Russian Federation were attacked. Now let's discuss the situation on the ground, where the Russians continue their Zaporozhye offensive operation. During the previous 24 hours, the map has been adjusted significantly. So this is the end of the 11th of March, this is the beginning of the 12th of March of 2026. As you can see, according to information we have, the Russians began a counter-offensive operation with the purpose to restore control over the territories the Russians lost during the Ukrainian counter-offensive operation of February of 2026, and as a result of a counter-attack, the Russians managed to improve their positions around the settlement of Verbovo. So these are the changes on the ground between the dates according to neutral mappers. At the same time, the Ukrainians managed to improve their positions significantly in the area of the village of Nichaevka. Different sources claimed that the village was captured by the armed forces of Ukraine. All these updates are telling us just about one thing, that the major battle of 2026 is still ongoing. Now let's discuss the situation in the Dobropolye direction, where the Russians also continue their offensive operation. Today, several independent sources stated that the Russians, as a result of clashes, established complete control over the village by the name of Grishna. Very likely today or tomorrow, the Minister of Defense of the Russian Federation will also confirm this information. Furthermore, today, several pro-Russian sources stated that the Russians improved their position significantly in the southern part of the settlement of Belitska. So today, we start receiving first videos that confirm that the Russians have strong control over the southern part. As of now, the video was deleted from the Telegram, so we will wait for the video, and when we add the video, we will adjust the map accordingly. As for the Konstantinovka and Slaviansk direction, during the previous 12 hours, we haven't received anything additional. As for the northern direction, the same situation. The Russians are keeping advancing along the entire border between the Ukraine and the Russian Federation, from the northern parts of the Sumy region to the northeastern part of Kharkiv region, and almost every single day we adjust the map in Russian favor. Today we have additional changes in the Krasnopolye direction, just small corrections that were provided by neutral mappers. And that's it for the short video. The Military Summary channel reminds to we condemn any violence in the world. Thank you for watching, subscribe to my channel, put your likes, join my Patreon, and have a good day. Bye bye.